Okay, so in my previous video we talked about the return of the training facility for WWE 2K20 and how it could help the loading screens for a WWE game. If you haven't seen that video, check the card at the end of this video or via the link in the description box below. Now in this video we're going to focus on something that will save you time when you pick up your copy of 2K20, whether it be for Xbox One, PlayStation 4 or on the PC. So what could it be? Well, if you fire up your copy of WWE 2K19 and you head to your creation suite, I'm sure you'll find that you have a ton of superstars which you've created throughout the year, a ton of created arenas, a ton of created championships, and much more. And all these creations become irrelevant when the next WWE game is released. That's unfortunate. Wouldn't it be great if we had a way to port over created superstars, created arenas, created championships, and much more to the next WWE game to save us wasting time creating those same creations once again? Because don't you find that you tend to do that? I certainly do. Now what I'm thinking is a data transfer. Some sort of data transfer that when you fire up WWE 2K20 for the first time, you receive a pop-up which says, do you want to transfer any data from the previous WWE game? You say yes, then you're greeted with a selection screen of all the data that you have currently saved on the previous game, and you go in and you tick which items you want to transfer. So whether it be a custom superstar, a custom arena, or a custom championship, or many custom championships, you can transfer all that data over, the logos come with it, and they're all set up and ready to go for you to play WWE 2K20. It would be a huge time saver for WWE games going forward if this data transfer was available. Now there would need to be rules applied around this data transfer, that's for sure, because one thing that I wouldn't want to do is stifle creators who want to get stuck in with 2K20 creating their creations to upload on the community creations, only to find out that their superstar that they made last year has been ported over by someone else. Now the way to stop this and make sure we don't stifle creators is by only having the option to transfer data which you created. Anything downloaded from the community creations will not be able to be ported over to the next WWE game. That then appeases all. That's the way I see it working. I don't know about you, but one thing I don't want to do is upset the creators that make so many awesome creations that we don't get from WWE games and really do enhance this game tenfold throughout the year. So in terms of how that would work, when it pops up to start WWE 2K20 for the first time and you have the option of making the data transfer, the tick boxes appear of what data you want to port over. It will filter out from the offset anything that was downloaded from the community creations. You will not be able to select any of those items, only the items which you created yourself. Now I don't know how difficult that is to do. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how clever it needs to be to analyse the data of the previous game to filter those items out. But as I said, you do need to be careful, because if you start venturing in to porting stuff over from previous games, then you may find that creators become disengaged, because what they end up finding is their creations from previous years are being taken over and taken credit for by other users, particularly if those users can re-upload them and class them as their own because they use the porting feature. So it must be done right. There must be rules in place. But if the rules abide by that and satisfy creators and make sure that nobody can steal another person's creation and the only items that you can port over are ones you've created yourself, then I think this would be excellent, particularly for universe mode. Imagine you've created all those items last year, you want to continue your universe, but you can't because you've got to recreate everything from scratch. This option would save you so much time. You can then port over the created arena that you use for universe mode, the superstars, say you've got a CAW universe, and also as well, the championships which you have set for your champions. Amazing. I'd love that. And also, if we come at it from a creator's angle, if we look at it without any issues with the porting aspect, if you, a creator, have created say 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 cores last year, I'm exaggerating a bit, but we do have some hardcore creators out there. You've created those, they look as good as anything, and you want to bring them into another WWE game, then you can. You can re-upload them for others to take from day one. And also as well, if you port them over yourself, then you want to update them, you can do that too. So it's making little adjustments to creations that already look great, and you make them look greater. So again, I think it benefits creators who have started that process, or even started a creation, but as time has drawn on, they haven't had the opportunity to finish it. The next game's coming out, so they simply transfer that over, finish it, update it, and release it to the world on the next WWE game. I think that's fantastic if you can do that. So, what do you think? And I mean, this data transfer, it could be looked at in other aspects of the game too, like a continuation of universe mode. If you could transfer the data from universe from 2K19 to 2K20, it could be quite an interesting concept to do that too, because then you could have storylines continue, you could have feuds continue with the superstars that you put in place, and your calendar could continue to update, but now in the next WWE game. But that's a step extra. At the moment, I just want to focus on saving time so you have the creations that you had in the last year's game. And I think most importantly, one of which I think stands out the most, is your own created superstar. The fact that you'll use that most likely for my career, wouldn't it be great if you could port over the superstar that you used last year from my career to this year? So you don't have to start from scratch. I will raise one concern about porting, is that we could get into a cycle where people just port, and port. So you might then find something's ported over from 19, gets ported over to 20, ported over to 21, and whether that becomes a mess, it could become a real problem. But I think again, if you are having the ability to only port over what you create, it does limit people just creating duplication and adding that to the community creations. Again, rules will need to be put in place, and doing something like this would need to be thought about. And I do think you may only have limited opportunities to make the port possible. I don't think that you should be able to constantly revisit the previous game and port something over at different points in time, because I think that doing something like that could cause a massive issue, say corrupting your data in WWE 2K20. So I think you should do it at the start when you get the game, so it won't damage any of your data. You do the port, job done, you've got what you want, you've had that opportunity, you've made your mind up, you've finalised it, it's done, and you're out of there. No more 2K19. But I do think you have to be careful with this, because it could cause a tremendous problem if you have people halfway through the year deciding to use the port option and it goes and corrupts their data for the current game. They'll be screaming at 2K saying, well, you didn't warn us by porting it was going to cause these problems. Well, that's why I think you have to put some precautions in place to allow people to only port maybe on first instance. Maybe you only have the first month to make the port with a caveat. Be careful of any data. Make that decision first. I don't know, but we all know when you go and fiddle with data, it usually becomes a sticky mess. It really does. Anyway, I want to get your views and opinions on this. I do think the porting option is something that should be thought about in a WWE game. There's been talk about crossing over from the community creations from PlayStation to Xbox and maybe even PC too, but I think this would be a great start from the offset to get things going, to get you stuck in to the next WWE game. No need to worry that you've got to spend a month creating everything. There might be people out there that say that this would ruin a WWE game because they like the creation aspect. They like the fact that they have to start over. But I do know there are people out there that are impatient. They don't like to have to wait, and this would appease them too. So you don't have to use this option after all. You might want to port, but if you don't, by all means, create everything from scratch, start again. But I think if the option's there, it is helpful. So what do you think? Can porting work for a WWE game? A transfer of data from the previous game to the new game? Can it be possible? Would it work for you? Would you like to see it? How would you let it work? And how would you put those restrictions and rules in place to make sure it doesn't ruin the experience for creators who help out this community so much? Love to hear from you guys. I think it's a great talking point, and I think it's a great feature if 2K do it right. And again, I will reiterate, it must be done right. But for now, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Porting for WWE 2K20 and beyond. I sound like Buzz Lightyear. This is Delzinski. See ya!